Well, I want to throw in a little segment here before we get to the roses of this Vikings game. I thought this would be a good chance for us to just consider the rest of the league for a minute.
Okay.
And I've come up with a list of teams that I'm glad we're not fans of. Are you ready for this?
This is kind of funny because friend of the show, Brian, mentioned a specific team to me today, and he said, I'm really just glad I'm not a fan of this team. So
well, let's see if that team is on the list. Yeah. I'm going to start at the bottom of my list. I'm going to work my way up because the last team or the first team on my list is actually kind of funny.
Okay.
First team that I'm glad we're not fans of, Patriots.
Yeah. Right now. That's such a crazy thing to say because for 20 years, we wish my joke is I always wish you had moved here from Boston and that you turned me into a Patriots fan. But yeah. But
this post Brady Belichick identity crisis is real, and they just have not figured it out. Robert Kraft has not figured out how to bring the right people into that organization to keep that thing going. They're trading away players. I don't even remember who it was. I just saw something today. They traded somebody away,
like a linebacker or something.
Yeah, a defensive player. They have a bad defense and they have the worst offense in the NFL. So I'm glad we're not fans of the Patriots.
Yeah.
The next team I'm glad we're not fans of. We have to play this team. We, the Vikings, have to play this team not too long from now. We travel there. Tennessee, the Titans.
Yeah. Man, they just got manhandled by the Lions.
Yes. They got destroyed by the Lions.
And the quarterback they traded away only looks really good when the Packers throw him on the field now because who is it? Malik Willis. They traded him away to the Packers, and it's not like they got anything great for him.
They're a good team defensively, and I think that will be something that the Vikings will have to be on the lookout for when they play them. But I think if this Brian Flores defense can get back on track, we can get Blake Cashman healthy, and they can fly around like they were flying around in the first 5 games of the season, I think they'll make mincemeat of that Titans offense.
I think, and I know give me 5 seconds. I think once Cashman comes back, it will be very telling to see if the defense goes back up again.
Oh, I agree with you.
Because I kind of expect that to happen. Just to get your brain back, then you're going to be better.
And we'll be hawking that injury report all week to see if he comes back. We need that guy.
He wasn't practicing today. Yeah. So, anyways, next team.
Worst record in the league. You got an old man quarterback playing better than the sophomore quarterback. No weapons anywhere, really. And a guy that could make his way back to Minnesota. Panthers.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about a different team, which may still be on the list. So I don't want to spoil it.
Right, don't spoil it.
If you say it, I'll be like, yeah, that's the one I thought you were talking about. The Panthers, man. That's rough because you trade away the farm just over a year ago for a guy that looks like he's already a bust. I mean, that Bears-Panthers trade for the first overall pick, which you do if Bryce Young is the guy you think he's going to be, then yeah, trade away 1,000 first-round picks. Who cares? Because then you have the best quarterback ever. But it really stings, too, that C.J. Stroud is so good that they could have had him. They could have picked Stroud over Bryce Young, and they failed. So yeah, it'd be tough to be a Panthers fan.
I think the team that you initially thought I was talking about is actually not on my list, but we'll talk about them.
I know we'll talk about them.
We'll talk about them plenty. They're not on my list though.
Okay. Also, Thielen, my personal. As a Vikings fan, I'd love if Thielen was back in purple, although as a fan of logistics and how
it would be
the team works, it'd be all a gimmick, because if it wasn't Thielen, if the same guy just had a different name and didn't play for the Vikings for 10 plus years, we wouldn't be calling for him. It's just be like, oh yeah, that one guy who was good a few years ago, we'd rather Hunter Renfrow than Thielen. It's just Thielen has our hearts. So anyways.
All right. So these last 2 teams, I have 2 more. And actually, I want to put these 2 out there and just see which one. I think I know what you're going to say. Actually, I don't know what you're going to say.
As far as the team that I thought you were mentioning?
No.
Oh.
The last 2 teams on my list of teams that I'm glad we're not fans of, to me, they're kind of a tie in different ways.
Okay.
The Bears and the Jets.
I mean, I'll never root for the Bears.
Okay, that's what I thought you would say.
Also, and I think the reason you add the Jets as a tie is because the Aaron Rodgers of it all.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Rodgers is a tool, but like, who cares? He's richer than I'll ever even dream to be, so he doesn't care what I think. And the Bears, I also have never been a believer in Caleb Williams, and maybe friend of the show Forrest is making me think that way because he's been saying that for a long time. Yeah, I'm glad we're not fans of the Bears.
Well, let's take the Jets for a second. Apparently, they're embracing the darkness over there in New York, and their quarterback is leading the way in that. They now only have not one but two divas on offense, with Davante Adams joining the mix, and he didn't do anything this weekend. So that looks like a real winner for the Jets there. They should be better even before Davante Adams was traded, but they still only have 2 wins, and those 2 wins are against the Titans and the Patriots, 2 of the worst teams in the league. Yeah. So I'm really glad we're not Jets fans. I'm also glad we're not Bears fans. The Bears have a winning record right now, to be fair, 4-3.
Okay.
They're still above 500. They're at the bottom of the NFC North, but the NFC North has proven to be arguably the toughest division in football this year. But boy, you look at that one play, that gigantic fail Mary, I will say, against the Commanders.
Yeah, if you're looking at it from the Bears' perspective, yeah.
Well, there's that one defender. I don't even remember his name.
Tyreek, right? Stevenson?
Whatever.
I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, well, he probably did enough to get fired because he's over there, taunting the Commanders fans and misses what's happening on the field, and then goes over and isn't, I don't think, really involved in the play, and the ball gets tipped and the Commanders catch it and they win.
Did you not? So
was he the one that tipped it?
He was the one that tipped it.
I didn't pay that much
It was
attention.
Tyreek Stevenson. He was taunting on the sideline, and then when he realized, I should probably run around, he does kind of run around and then goes, and he's the one that one hand tips the ball, and, tip drill, the Commander caught it. He tweeted out something today, like a mature, hey, that was on me. It was something like lack of focus. I apologize to my teammates and the fans and everything. It was a mature thing to tweet out, but still, my goodness, that's such a bad look.
Yeah, it was definitely embarrassing. And not just that, the entire game, it didn't really look like the Bears were doing anything. The Bears offense couldn't hold a candle to what the Commanders were doing offensively. I think the Commanders had 400 something yards.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
The point total, I didn't really watch it either. The point total doesn't really determine what happened in that game. It was way closer than it should have been. The Commanders should have blown them out by 20 points, I think, when you go in and look at the stats a little more deeply. But I'm not a huge believer in Caleb Williams. I don't think he's that great. And I think problems with the Bears organization are even more systemic. I think you have major problems on the coaching staff. I don't think they're really doing any of their players anything by the plays they're calling or putting their players in the right position. And I think that even stems back to management. And I just don't think the Bears are in the right spot right now.
Yeah.
So all of those teams, I'm really glad we're not fans of. And I know it feels like the sky is falling on the Vikings a little bit the last couple of weeks. It's been tough, but this organization is still in a really good place. Good management, great coaching. Yep, we've had a few tough losses. Hopefully, they've learned some things about themselves. Hopefully, the coaching staff has figured out how they can scheme some things around. There's still some really, really good players that aren't divas, that aren't full of themselves. Even the best wide receiver in the league is hanging on, and he's willing to play a team role. And I'm excited about that.
Unless you believe the whole Jordan Addison Instagram
he
picture,
came out,
free three.
He dispelled that this week too. He said, no, this has been something that I've been doing since I was in college. And I believe that. Yeah. The DUI over the summer aside, I think Jordan Addison, he made an honest mistake of a young kid who just has access to way more money than any of us will ever know. And I think he's got good people around him who are counseling him through that and trying to help him figure that out. Should he maybe be a little more careful with what he posts? Yeah, he probably should.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been playing great. But I don't think that post was this like sub tweet that we all thought it was. I think it was just, I'm here. I think he was just reminding people like I'm here and I'm still capable of playing really good football.
Yeah, that free three is his slogan. It's like us saying Skol. But, and not to crap on Jordan Addison, if he was starting to be a diva, goodbye. Like who cares? You're not running the right routes.
He's on a really short leash right now. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you have barely done any great things. He's good, and he will be fine. I don't think I'm not advocating for the Vikings to get rid of him, but if he was going to start being a Stephon Diggs, like, okay, you're easier to get rid of than Lewis Seen was as a first round pick a couple of years ago. So, yeah, all is good there. I guess that's all I can really think of for Thorns. I really think this Darrisaw injury, that might be the season crutch. That's such a big person to lose. And we've seen what happens on defense when you lose a stalwart on defense in Blake Cashman. So hopefully they figure that out, whether it's in-house or they sign guys on the off the street. Dustin Baker had a video today where he kind of said the available free agents are more enticing than anyone you could trade for, even, notwithstanding what you'd give up. But yeah, Thorns. Any more Thorns?
No, I think we've covered the Thorns, and I think one big thorn that we don't have to endure as Vikings fans is that we're not fans of those other teams. And I think there's still so much upside to this Vikings team, and that's why I wanted to bring this kind of perspective. Like, it's not woe is us. The sky isn't completely fallen yet, and we shouldn't just throw in the towel. Yes, the last 14 days have been tough for the Vikings, but there's still a lot of season left.